Hello learners, I'm Dr. Poonam Agrawal and today I'll be discussing a very important topic that's called polymerase chain reaction. Why it is called polymerase chain reaction? Because we are using DNA polymerase enzyme and it's a cyclical process which is occurring in a chain fashion, and we are actually amplifying a particular DNA segment in this technique. This technique was proposed by Carl Kary-Mullis in 1984. So I'm going to discuss this technique. To understand this polymerase chain reaction, you need to know what is the target segment of the DNA and what is the flanking segment of the DNA. So let's start with that. What is target and what is flanking segment of the DNA? So for that, let me draw this double-stranded DNA, which are anti-parallel strands. One thing you should know that in PCR, we are not amplifying the whole DNA. We are only a small portion of the DNA in which we are interested is getting amplified in PCR technique. The segment which need to be amplified is called target sequence, and little outer sequence to this target sequence is called flanking sequence towards 3' end. Similarly, this is called flanking sequence. One thing you should know, if you want to amplify this green colored target sequence and you want to make millions of its copies, you need to know the sequence of nucleotide in the flanking region. Because in this technique, which is totally based on mechanism of natural DNA replication, we need to have primer for the synthesis of DNA against this target sequence. So for making the primer, the flanking sequence should be a known sequence against which the primer is designed. So you have one primer against this flanking region and another primer against this flanking region. So we use a pair of the primer for doing the PCR technique. The target sequence, whether it is known or unknown, it doesn't matter. If you do not know the sequence of target's region, still the PCR can amplify that sequence of the DNA, right? So what is important, that flanking sequence should be known because we need to prepare the primer in this technique. And as I have told you, it's totally based on the basic principle of DNA replication, which is occurring in the cell, where you know that parent strand is read in 3 to 5 direction and the daughter strand is synthesized in 5 to 3 direction. You need to have primer, you need to have primase enzyme, you need to have deoxynucleotides. So similar fashion, the Kary-Mullis devised this technique, which is done in vitro, where in the tubes we are able to amplify a target sequence. It has got multiple applications which I'll be dealing at the last. So if I tell you how the PCR is being done, you can understand that we are using the primer, RNA primer, and the parent template is being read in 3 to 5 direction, and primer is getting annealed at this flanking region at low temperature, and then DNA polymerase enzyme is going to elongate the DNA, synthesize the DNA against this target sequence, following the set rule that reading will be 3 to 5 direction and synthesis will be 5 to 3 direction, right? So this is how the DNA synthesis takes place in a direction specific manner. And once one cycle is complete for the PCR, we tend to have 2 sets of DNA. Like originally, if you see, the black strand was the one set of the DNA, and now once the one cycle is complete, we are now having 2 sets of DNA. This is one set, and which is still having the primer attached to it, and this is another set of DNA, right? So this is how we get to have 2 sets of DNA at the end of first cycle. Similarly, when we do the second cycle, from 2 sets we tend to get 4 sets of DNA. So this is how amplification is being done, and we need to have mini material in the PCR cuvette. The PCR cuvette is having the target DNA in measured quantity, the deoxynucleotides. This is deoxynucleotide triphosphate of 4 variety, which is making you DNA. Then DNA polymerase, which should be thermostable. the Taq polymerase, Thermus Aquaticus DNA polymerase enzyme. Why we are using thermostable? Because we are going to use the high temperature at the start of each cycle for separation of the parent strand or the denaturation of the DNA, which I will be talking to you shortly. So we need to use the thermostable enzyme which is not getting denatured by increasing the temperature. So originally the Mullis used E. coli DNA polymerase, which was thermolabile, and later scientists of newer generation, they replaced the thermolabile enzyme with this thermostable Taq polymerase, which is Thermus Aquaticus DNA polymerase enzyme. So it's not getting denatured at the increase at the start of each cycle when the temperature is being increased, right? Now, as I've told you, we need to use a primer against the flanking region, and we have two flanking regions, so we need to have two primer at a time. So primer is never the single in PCR. We are having always the pair of the primer, which is being used for amplifying a particular target sequence. Now, magnesium ion is cation which is being used in the PCR qubit, because this enzyme needs its cofactor magnesium ion. So from outside we have to add the measured quantity of magnesium as well in the PCR qubit. This is a very small vessel like a PCR qubit. It is called PCR qubit. In this we pour all the material, the target DNA, which need to be amplified, and then all four variety of deoxynucleotide, DNA polymerase, pair of primer, magnesium, and the buffer to maintain the pH. And this PCR qubit is kept in I show you the machine where the PCR is being done. It's called thermocycler, and you can see these space where the PCR qubits are accommodated. Number of multiple PCR qubits you can accommodate. So at a time, multiple sets of DNA can be amplified in this machine. And you can see the computer attached here where the programming is being done for the PCR. Now the question is how the programming is being done. I told you very simply that flanking region is annealing with the primer, and then a target sequence is making the daughter copy in elongation phase. So let's see how the programming of the cycle is being done. So for one cycle of PCR, following steps are there. One is the denaturation, where heat is being used to separate the original parent strand. For that, 95 degrees Celsius temperature is used for 15 seconds. Then annealing step is there, where the temperature is lowered to 54 degrees Celsius, and at this lower temperature the primer is annealed to the flanking sequence. Primer is an artificial primer which is actually synthesized against the flanking region. There are many companies which produce they synthesize the primer, and it's commercially available. So if you know the sequence of the flanking region, you can always tell the supplier to provide you the respective primer which is used for your PCR process. Then, so after denaturation, when annealing is done at lower temperature, the temperature is changed to 72 degrees Celsius, where the actual synthesis of elongation means actual synthesis of DNA takes place. Why we need to select 72 degrees Celsius? Because it's an optimum temperature for our enzyme Taq polymerase which we are using in the PCR technique. So these are three steps in which the cycle is programmed. One is the denaturation, which is at very high temperature, so it's a heat denaturation. Then annealing, then elongation. Once one cycle is complete, you can program the computer that the cycle should run for 20 times. So for the second cycle, the same process is repeated once again, the denaturation, annealing, and elongation. And for the third cycle, the same steps are repeated again. So these three steps are the main steps which you need to remember, and these steps are repeated again and again, and you get to have exponential growth of target sequence. You can see in this diagram. This is the original strand which is having some target sequence here. right? It need to be amplified. So what is done? The denaturation is done. Both the strands are separated. Then the primer, red color thing is the primer, which is annealing at lower temperature at 54 degrees Celsius. Then and in the 72 degrees Celsius, what happens? The actual synthesis of DNA takes place. So this is how one set is now producing you two set at the end of one cycle. And when the same process is repeated for the second cycle, you tend to have 1, 2, 3 and 4 sets of DNA. At the end of third cycle, you tend to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of DNA. At the end of fourth cycle, you'll be getting 8 into 2, 16 sets of DNA. So this is how at the end of each cycle, just the number is getting doubled. So this is called exponential growth of the DNA, which we can see in PCR technique. They have calculated that this is the number of DNA product which you're going to get, and is the number of cycles. Suppose you're programming for 20 cycle, then it will be 2 to the power 20, which will be in millions. So this is how the amplification takes place. If it is 30 cycle, n is going to be 30, so that will be in billions. So this is how number of target segments you can achieve by doing this PCR technique. It's a very, very valuable technique, and this is illustrative diagram which can explain you clearly that how the PCR is being done. You see the step 1, which I told you is the denaturation, which is separating the parent strand. And then you see the DNA primer is being used. In step 2, it is going to anneal at lower temperature, 54 to 55 degrees Celsius at the flanking region, right? And then what is the next step? The synthesis of actual DNA. You can see the wavy arrows. This is the new DNA which is synthesized in 5 to 3 direction. The reading is 3 to 5 and synthesis is 5 to 3. And this is the new set of the DNA which you are getting at the end of one cycle. So this same cycle is repeated 20 to 40 times. So this is a very simplified diagram which is explaining you very well how the PCR is being done. Now let's talk about its various types. There are so many types of PCR. We have RT-PCR. The one which I've described you just now is the conventional PCR, which is done for DNA. Now suppose if RNA is the starting material, then how to amplify its genome, how to amplify its genetic material, a particular sequence for further study. So for that, you make the complementary DNA of this RNA and then do the PCR. This kind of PCR is called RT-PCR or reverse transcriptase PCR. Why RT-PCR? Because we are using reverse transcription here. Reverse transcription, which is converting RNA to complementary DNA, which is sent for the PCR. So the technique is similar, but the starting material is RNA, and you should know the enzyme which is being used is not Taq polymerase, rather it is thermophilus DNA polymerase enzyme which we are using. This thermophilus DNA polymerase enzyme is also thermostable, so you don't need to add it again and again at the start of each cycle, which was the drawback of the original DNA polymerase used by Mullis. That was E. coli DNA polymerase. There, at the start of each cycle, the DNA polymerase was supposed to be added, because it was thermolabile. But then Taq polymerase came, which is used for the DNA polymerization, and TTH polymerase, DNA polymerase, is used for RT-PCR. Why we are using this thermophilus DNA polymerase? Because it's having reverse transcriptase activity as well. So we just need to add this particular enzyme, thermophilus DNA polymerase, which is fulfilling two purposes. One is the reverse transcription, and the DNA polymerase activity also it is having, which is needed for PCR cycles. Then in brief, I'll be discussing you about nested and inverted multiplex PCR. Detail I will be discussing in a separate video. Nested PCR, where we use the multiple sets of primer at the beginning of each cycle, and this is actually the type of PCR which is increasing the specificity of amplification. In invert PCR, what we do, if you suppose if you don't know the flanking sequence, but if you know the target sequence or of the nucleotide, target sequence, nucleotide sequence you know, but flanking sequence, nucleotide sequence you do not know, then how to do the PCR? Because if flanking sequence is not known, then how the primer will be synthesized? it's a challenge, right? So in invert PCR, what is being done actually in a very critical technique, the target sequence is brought outside, that's behaving as a flanking sequence, and the flanking sequence is sandwiched in between, which is acting as a target sequence. This all I'll be detailing in some separate video. Then multiplex PCR is the technique where multiple sets of primer is being used at a time, and in a DNA, multiple segments of the DNA can be amplified simultaneously. Then what is important is the real-time PCR, which is otherwise called quantitative PCR. So abbreviation is qPCR. It's a quantitative PCR, quantitative PCR. In this PCR, the similar technique is applied, which I have told you about, conventional PCR or the reverse transcriptase PCR. But in this, the real-time dye is being used, which is a fluorescent dye. You should know the name of dye: Cyber, green dye, molecular beacon dye, Techman dye. These are certain fluorescent dyes which are being used, and they tend to intercalate between the newly synthesized double-stranded DNA, and they start fluorescing. So that fluorescence detects the quantity of the amplified product. So in real-time PCR, we tend to quantify the PCR product as and when the cycle is going on. That is why it is called real-time PCR, because even when the cycle is going on, we can quantify the material which is produced in the PCR cuvette by seeing the fluorescence which is coming out of the cuvette. More the product of the DNA in the cuvette, more the fluorescence will be there. So this is how the real-time PCR is being done, which is done for both RNA PCR as well as for DNA PCR. Now, application, as far as application is concerned, we are amplifying a target sequence which we need to study, for any mutation or any polymorphism. This also helps in detection of subclinical infection, latent infection. Suppose bacterial viral infection is there, that is being detected by amplifying their genetic material. Then similarly, early detection of cancer can be done by this technique. Then cancer chemotherapy, whether any cancer cell is left after the chemotherapy or not, that can be, the PCR can be applied there also. Then in forensic and legal medicine, parental dispute or criminal cases, investigations, the evidence DNA need to be amplified. The suspect DNA need to be amplified for their perfect matching, so that PCR is being done. Then in evolution study, in fossil study, where certain DNA material is found, its genetic component is being amplified, which is being studied. So this in a nutshell is the PCR technique. You should know the basic principle of this PCR technique, which is totally based on natural mechanism of DNA replication. Then the materials which are required, then the cycle programming of the PCR. Each cycle is having 3 steps. You should know what temperature variation is programmed in the computer. Automatically the computer will change after a set time, the temperature will automatically change, and this kind of phenomena will take place in the cuvette. You cannot see by naked eye, but internally everything will be taking place in the thermocycler. So thank you very much. For more such videos, you can subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you.